You found the coolest place to be, the PlayStation collecting sets, and come on, won't you sing with me? Welcome to the show. Gather round the boys and girls, collectors from around the world, and show the people what they need to know. Welcome to the show. Gonna talk to Jeff, what we got for spares, gonna put their knowledge to the test, gonna laugh and eat, gonna live the dream, gonna show you things you've never seen, gonna sing a song to the break of dawn, gonna rock this party all night long. So come on everybody, let me see you dance. Get yourself ready for one more chance. You found the coolest place to be, the PlayStation collecting sets, and come on, won't you sing with me? Welcome to the show. Gather round the boys and girls, collectors from around the world, and show the people what they need to know. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show.
Hey.
Hey. What's up, everyone? Welcome to Season 2, Episode number 13 of the PlayStation Collectors Podcast. And tonight, we welcome back Joe, aka Collector Finatic 101, and TJ Beam to the show. What's up, guys?
What's up?
What's up, guys? Thanks for coming back. By popular
You're welcome.
demand.
Thanks for having
Yeah,
us.
it's been a while since you've been on, but it's great to have you both on together.
Indeed.
Yeah, I think I was like episode 18, and Joe might have been early 15 or something. Been a while.
I think it was like Episode 9 and Episode 6.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
it was pretty early.
Yeah.
Mhm. So you guys are like OG founders of the PSC collectors and like OG members of the podcast. There you go. Like honorary
Yeah.
royalty.
Yeah.
OG for everything. Yeah, let's go.
I actually just rejoined the Facebook group recently. Randomly.
No, it was you came back and everyone was excited to see you. They thought you were getting back in the collecting again.
Like, yo, welcome home. I'm like, oh, I'm just hanging about. I'm not collecting. Totally no sold. But
TJ, it's been a few months since we've seen you. What have you been up to, man? Last time we spoke to you, you were making videos at graveyards.
yeah, I do them on TikTok now. I took them off. I don't do them on YouTube anymore. I do them just TikTok, just historical videos. But as you know, I started another channel with a good mate of mine, a wrestling channel, and that kind of went nuts straight away, and we got monetized after 6 videos, and just that I'm only editing on that. I'm not doing any. You don't need to hear my voice on the videos. I'm not doing any voiceovers or anything. I just do all the editing. But super fun. I've always been addicted to wrestling, like my mate. So once we've been talking for years. Like, what's a side hustle we can do together? And like wrestling was staring at us in the face for years, and then all of a sudden we're like, hey, I know, let's do a wrestling channel.
Are you talking about, like, are you going over like American, like WWF kind of like wrestling?
Kind of an old school. At the moment, we're only doing like top 8 countdowns just to sort of dip our feet. But I'm told Figsy early I'm planning on relocating to Melbourne. Yeah, there's some of our videos. Relocating to Melbourne in the new year, and we've got some huge plans that involve some overseas travel and all sorts of really good stuff planned. So my mate that's doing it with me has had a wrestling promotion before, and he's a former wrestler. So yeah, we're gonna hit the ground running, and when I go down to Melbourne, and hopefully it all takes off. We've got some really good stuff planned. Wrestle Savage it's called, if anyone wants to come and check it out. It's not a plug to subscribe by all means, because wrestling's you got to be a fan. But
That's awesome, man.
yeah,
I will say, if you are a wrestling fan, it is like top quality videos on YouTube. It's just like Wrestle Cultaholics or anything like that else. It's good stuff. So definitely check it out.
yeah, it's a lot of fun to do.
Editing skills are 10 out of 10. Good work.
Thanks, man. Thanks. Yeah.
Did you see the new WWF Legends N64 ROM hack that RGT85 was talking about? That looks sick, man. Honestly, I love the N64 wrestling game. So
We were just talking about it last night. I ring my mate Rad every night in the truck and talk about the channel, and he was telling me about a few little updates that come through. Yeah, for people who love the N64 wrestling games, it's unbelievable.
hell yeah.
It's just
those
it's
are the
everything
best.
you've ever wanted in a new wrestling game.
Yeah, and it's got the
It looks
best
really good.
roster ever.
Yeah, the
If
roster's-
if you're into like late 80s, early 90s wrestling, like oh my god, it's got everybody you would want. It's so good.
It's almost the greatest selling point about the game is the roster they're putting together. Looks good.
I just gotta find
I like
everybody
my
I used to hang out
wrestling
with back then.
I always say the early 2000s are the best, but then you talk to people who played the 90s games, and they always say no, the 90s wrestling games were the best.
Well, I like the N64 games, but to me, like Here Comes the Pain was the pinnacle. But it's only just like it's a different game to like No Mercy. No Mercy is probably the greatest game away from Here Comes the Pain, but No Mercy is very arcadey gameplay, whereas Here Comes the Pain, you can create a wrestler and pretend you're a wrestler. It's just so in depth, and that it's two different games, but they're both just brilliant. They're really good. So I was telling Figsy actually, I might sometime next year when we get settled in, maybe we'll do a wrestling video game podcast, because there's plenty of really cool stuff out there that who's that American guy that you had on recently? Forgive me, I can't remember his name.
Steve Wright's big into wrestling games as well, so we can definitely do some kind of fun podcast together. It should be good.
Yeah, it might be an interesting little topic, but
Yeah, that definitely would be cool.
And Joseph, it's been a while since we've seen you, man. What have you been up to?
Yeah, indeed. What's that, man?
What have you been up to since we've seen you last?
So I've been doing a lot of nothing, honestly. I've just been working a lot. Like I told you, like before the show, I'm getting ready to go to South Korea, probably in the next like 3 weeks. I'll be there for like 6 months for work. I might go to Japan while I'm over there. I'm really not sure yet. Hopefully I do, so I can pick up maybe a few video games while I'm over there. And then when I get back, I'll probably get back around like March, April, and yeah, I don't really know. That's pretty much all that's been kind of like on my mind is getting ready to leave, because I got to pack for like 6 months. So I'm basically taking like everything that I own with me, and then not everything. The video game collection is staying, but I got to pack all my stuff. For anybody that doesn't know, or anybody that's watched my videos, in the military, and I work on and fly in helicopters. And that's pretty much what I do. I do all the electronic radar equipment, intercommunication systems, stuff like that. And yeah, so
I thought you were a professional meme creator, Joe.
That too. I am that too. I do that on my off hours.
His memes are top notch people.
Yeah. But yeah, so that's what I'll be doing. And yeah, I'll be doing that in the next couple weeks.
If I give you a list of games in Japan, do you mind? No, I'm just kidding.
How do you feel over there before, Joe? Do you get much time to hunt for video games while you're over in South Korea?
Oh yeah, so it's kind of like a lot of people think like the military, like we're constantly working, and maybe I'm sure there are people like that, but like with my squadron, and for anybody that wants to know, just look up the MH-53 Echo Sea Dragon. That's what I work on. I've been working on it for like 17 years. It's my bread and butter. I love it. It's a huge beast. I think it is the biggest helicopter in the world. And I'm sorry, what did you ask me? I told you like my memory is a little fried lately. So
so I said, you've been to South Korea before. What's the video game collecting scene like over there?
Well, South Korea is weird because it's like very hard to find like a legit like video game store. They'll have like little mom and pop, like brick and mortar kind of stores, but like to actually find like a GameStop, you're not going to find that. Now, Japan is a whole other world, because you could walk like a block and find 5 video game stores, and then walk down the street or 2 doors down, and it'll be another video game store. But like they're not called video game stores. So like a big one in Japan is called Book Off. and it's just like for selling books. But like you go in there and it's just like they have everything, and they always have like a crazy video game section. The only thing I will say is for like anybody that's like into Xbox, you're pretty much out of luck on that because they don't sell it anywhere.
Standard fare.
Yeah.
I think I'd be all right.
Poor old Xbox. Actually, I think didn't I randomly see recently? Maybe it was a while ago, but didn't one of the girls that was a regular on Metal Jesus just relocate to Japan for the?
Yeah,
like,
Kinsey lives over in Japan now. I've watched some of
Did
her
she
videos.
completely relocate, or did she just go over there?
Yeah, her and
visit?
her husband live over there now.
Yeah.
Welcome
No, it's
back.
actually crazy what Joe said about Xbox. So, like, I don't know if it's still like that, like today, but I know a few years ago.
Did you guys lose me? Was that
Yeah.
was that like the stream? I'm sorry. I guess my internet's like a little spotty because I'm upstairs on the Wi-Fi. So
That's all right, Joe. We got you back now. I was saying that
So we
back
live
in like
in
2020,
Australia, like
the Xbox
Wi-Fi.
One was actually being outsold by the PS3 in Japan. That's how crazy the Japan market doesn't do Xbox.
well, right now, I mean, the PS4 is outselling like the Xbox Series X and X in Japan. So yeah,
It's crazy to think about.
Yeah.
Has Xbox ever tried to push Japan? Do they just leave that market alone?
I think they're making a bigger push, especially in like recent, especially in the last 2 years with their insane purchases they've been making. They are trying to make that like footnote in Japan, which I'm sure they will at some point, but like they're just going to get pushback from Japan because like Japan's like a weird, like they don't really care about like they care about PlayStation, but like they're more about the mobile gaming.
Yeah.
The mobile style gaming, and that's why the Switch is huge over there.
I guess that must be similar to the Asian market. Like the Asian market's really big into like the handheld, and then the mobile gaming market is huge in countries like the Philippines and Indonesia and India and places like that.
Yep.
Yeah, no. That's why we always get terrible mobile game versions of everything in the West because they're making all of those for them. And then they're saying, hey, you guys want Diablo mobile? No? Okay, sorry.
Let's take it west.
Exactly what that they're not making them for us. They make them for that audience, but then they try to say, hey, why not? Hey, we're good Americans. You guys want to play phone? And then everyone just says no, pisses on it, and I don't know.
Booze them.
For I don't know about you. Maybe you guys play a lot of phone games, but for all the games I own and all the gaming I do, I have like no games on my phone. I do no mobile gaming, none whatsoever.
The last time I played a mobile game was Snake on my Nokia 3210.
I did play a lot of Snake. And, turf
I'm
wars,
not even
drug wars.
I'm not even exaggerating.
I've been playing Monopoly Go on my phone. If for anybody out there, don't download it. It's super addicting, and you end up spending a lot of money on it.
That's what they're all.
Is it like Pokemon Go?
No, it's not. It's nothing like it. I don't even know why they called it Go. It's Monopoly, but like with like your Facebook friends, and you can.
That doesn't sound
fun. But it's not like regular Monopoly where like you're all playing together. You could just you just go around the board, and if you land on certain pieces, like you could steal like your friends' like money or stuff like that.
So is the handhelds? Do you think is Sony going to make another? Do you believe they're going to make another push in to try to compete with the Switch?
Well,
or
Sony
is
actually
completely scared off from the Vita that.
Sony have introduced a new handheld device, but it's kind of just like a fancy PlayStation TV. It basically just streams the games on your PS5 on this handheld device. It doesn't come with slots to put in games. It's not going to have cartridges or anything. So that's Sony's future of the handheld market.
Everyone's just said that's Nintendo. Leave them alone.
Yeah, pretty much. Because all they did was take a PS5 controller, saw it in half, and then put like a 5-inch screen in it.
Oh,
It's weird.
Yeah.
looking.
Yeah, it's called the Portal. It actually just went up for pre-order, I think, today. It's $199.99. Yeah.
Is anyone here going to
I ordered
try
it.
it
Hell
out?
yeah. Hell
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
100%. Absolutely.
Mm,
Yeah.
mm-mm.
I own 2 PS5s, so I'm going to have one dedicated
have
to
one?
that just for streaming. So that's what I'm going to use it for.
I don't have
Yeah.
one.
I'm a sick freak.
I got a PS4 that was turned on 2 years ago.
I have 4 PS4s, and I actually want to sell some of them. Because
I've been doing that. I've been selling a lot of my PS4s.
Yeah, I don't need all these.
No.
I'm just going to keep my Spider-Man PS4 Pro, I think.
That's the last one I sold. I sold
Yeah.
it for like $750.
Ooh.
So, to the new PS5s, are they pushing the variant controllers as hard as the PS4 did?
Oh yeah, like actually, just today I got my email that my Spider-Man 2 DualShock or DualSense, like the PS5 controller, just shipped.
Right.
Yeah, I got that too.
Yep.
And they're also pushing all the plates and everything. So.
Yeah. Which
Yeah, what are the plates? So I saw that the other day. They just clip onto the actual console.
No, so like the plates actually, so the plates on the like you've seen the normal like white PS5 with the like flares that go out, those detach, and you just get other ones and you just slap them on there.
That's what those
Yeah,
are.
Joe's got all of them up there.
Oh,
Not
those
all of
colored
them.
things in the back.
Those are the regular ones. So there's the PS5 one, the LeBron James one, and then the Final Fantasy 16 one as well, which I do not have.
The LeBron James one, is that like? Do people argue that that's not the greatest?
I don't
skin
like
ever?
The second greatest of all time, all right?
I'm going to argue with you. So,
I'm not a huge
they've
fan.
created another collecting niche by just releasing these. Do you collect them, Joe, or are you just get them randomly?
I get them randomly, but I do. So I don't know. I just have a feeling like those will be a pain in the ass and very expensive to get down the road, just because they released the digital version and then the disc version, and then they're going to have the slims, and I just can't see them producing these things forever. So I just have a feeling like they're going to disappear one day, and they're just not going to make them anymore for like the disc versions as time goes on. And it'll start off like you can't get the red one anymore, and then you can't get the camel one anymore, and then like they only will have these ones. I don't know. So I wanted to get them. I think they're cool. And like
they kind of tried that with the PS3. With they had. Did you ever see those clip-on covers?
I had the God of War one. I think it was God of War.
There was a Final Fantasy one, and
Little
they
Big
tried
Planet
to kind of tested the market with them, I guess, back then. But I mean, it's like those book off stores that we were talking about earlier, and you go to Japan, and if you discover Japan sites, like the amount of random shit that they've got for gaming is ridiculous.
Insane.
Oh, accessories and peripherals and stuff. It's a ridiculous.
Yeah, like when I was collecting, that's what people sort of semi knew me as, like, was collecting these really obscure peripherals. And
yeah, they end up on the quiz on this show, and I gotta freaking guess what they are. It'll be like a spoon with a PS2 plug. I'm like, what the hell is that? I don't know.
Really quick. That's the Dark Souls trilogy box collection, and it usually goes for around like 700 to 1,000 on eBay. I think anyway. Last time I checked, I found that in Tokyo for 180 American dollars, and I literally carried that thing around with me all day because I was like, I have to have this. I don't know how I'm going to get it home, but I have to have this. So I carried it around all Tokyo with me like an idiot until I got to my hotel, and then took it back because I was living in Misawa at the time, some Air Force base, and went from Tokyo to Misawa Air Force, and then I went to basically the UPS store and then sent it home.
Nice. Totally worth it because it would have been cheaper than buying it with shipping in America.
Oh yeah. I wouldn't have spent $600 on that. It's not worth it.
Well, one of the first things I ever bought, as in when I was, because before PS3, I was kind of a little bit into collecting PS2 and a bit on PS1, and I found a PS1, like a legit Sony branded PS1 cooling fan, and I was like, "Oh, that's kind of weird," and it cost me like $3 or something. And then I got onto the PlayStation collector group, not the PS3 one, the original PS1 UK one, and I was like, "Oh, has anyone seen that?" And people were like, "What the fuck is that?" Like they were like, "What is that?" I was like, "I don't know. I just found it for $3, and it's a cooling fan for a PS1." And people were like, "Why do you need a cooling fan for a PS1?"
Yeah.
And it just clipped onto the side, and it was the same texture and everything. It was Sony branded. I was like, "Yay! I can cool my PS1 now. Thanks, Japan."
You guys don't play Tekken like I do, apparently.
So like the 100-hour Final Fantasy VII sessions when you haven't got a memory card, you need to leave the console on.
Or when you or linking a PS1 console with another and playing Command and Conquer for 4 days straight.
Game Boy had a lot of really weird accessories too. If you ever
Yeah,
had
they
any of
would-
those back in the day, I used to have some of those monstrosities that would take your
Yeah.
Game Boy. They put like a giant screen and a light and a thing, and it would just make it like this huge something. But it was sick.
To
Hell
make it
yeah.
bigger and everything.
In the back of the
Turn-
station wagon.
Turned
Playing
into the Doctor Who's TARDIS or something.
Dude, that's how I built my forearm strength trying to hold that motherfucker. That thing was like freaking
Kids
30
today
pounds.
will never understand why we need a light to play on something.
Yeah, and they
True.
also won't understand having to ask your parents for 4 batteries every 30 minutes. Dude, did anyone ever own a Game Gear? Those things destroyed batteries. I don't know if you guys ever had one. Because it was like had the color screen and everything back in the day. Like it would just annihilate batteries. Like,
So,
and it was like C batteries or something.
as four, I think it was 4 AA's. Might have been 2.
I think it was 6,
double A.
honestly. Cyrus
Oh
in
my
the
God.
in the chat brought up a good one, the
Squish.
Game Boy Color sewing machine. That was like a real it was a real thing where you would hook up the Game Boy. It would basically have like certain patterns you could like, make, and you would put the Game Boy in this certain sewing machine and then press it, and then it would make that pattern with the
It was
sewing.
6. Wow.
Wow.
Pretty cool, but they had
Yeah.
similar things. Like they had the Game Boy camera as well, where you could take a photo and print it out, and it would be like this black and white little photo.
The Game Boy had a lot of weird like add-ons.
Yeah, that was fun. That's when I liked, that back that day, that gaming era was amazing because you could just do whatever you wanted, and someone would be like, "Yeah, sure, what the hell, go for it. Yeah, sounds good." It was just the Wild West.
I don't think.
Oh.
Sorry, Joe. I can't remember. I don't remember Australia ever getting a lot of peripherals for the Game Boy
Really?
back in the day. No, I wasn't a huge Game Boy player, but I carried one everywhere I went. But I wasn't like glued to it. But I don't recall there being a lot of stuff available from my memory.
We had a lot of like third party stuff. So places like Dick Smith and Tandy and stuff would Wow Sport, Wow. I forget the rest of their name, but they would sell a lot of their own brand stuff that would work for like the Game Boy and different stuff like that.
Yeah, like the magnifying glasses that would like hook onto the screen to make it bigger.
I had one of those lights that I attached to
Lights.
it, and I used to play it in the car when it was nighttime. And
It-
things like
Yeah, I had a light. I remember that.
Besides that Game Boy Color sewing machine, they had another one which was kind of weird. And I think her name is Ten Tickles or something. She owns a video game store out in like Washington State. But she recently posted one, and it's a fishing lure. It's not a fishing lure. It's basically this thing that you throw in the water, and then you could see the fish on the Game Boy screen.
Yeah, it's like a sonar.
It's like a
fishing
yeah,
sonar.
fish
Yeah,
sonar.
yeah, that's a real thing. I've seen that too.
Or the Game Boy.
Mhm.
I don't know why you'd need that, but
If you're really into fishing, and you want the
yeah.
real thing on the Game Boy.
That'd be so amazing. Imagine like some dude like wins some sick bass tournament. And they're like, "What's your secret?" He's just like, "Get the Game Boy. What's good?"
Yeah.
They have it's like a big controversy. They have to ban it and all this other stuff. No Game Boys.
That is true. Only in Japan.
Only in Japan that thing was. Makes sense.
It does.
Yeah, well, a lot of peripherals that I found when I was searching, especially PS3, were all Japanese exclusive stuff.
Yeah.
Like the rest of the world just didn't even get a look in with a lot of these weird peripherals.
Yeah,
Like I got two PS3 screens that I end up sending to Ben Murbat, and randomly, like one of them was a legit high definition screen, but one of them was randomly sorry, I haven't had much sleep. The like the analog connection, so it was like you're playing a high definition PS3, but they're selling you this screen that's only analog. I was like, why does anyone even need that?
Games.
Yeah, and it was like, oh, look at this. There's a white version, and I found it, and I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. I'll get a white version and put it on a white console. And then I got it, and I was like, is this analog? And then when I sent it to Ben, he's like, is this analog? Why do we need an analog screen for a PS3?
Yeah.
It was so weird.
Because
The original Fat Boy PS3 though did have the analog cords, didn't it? You could use it HDMI or
no. These were for Slim. Like they were specially designed for Slim. They'd actually clip right onto the actual
That sounds
console.
kind of cool if they color match the colored consoles. I mean,
yeah, I only understand the black
for
and
like
the
shelf
white,
candy, they'd be cool. Not for actual functional purpose, but I bet they look cool.
I think that's all Ben just does. Like of all the, because I know that he trimmed down a lot of his collection recently, and one of the only bulky things that he kept were those two screens, because they're just so, like when you look at them, they're like, okay, they're cool because they're screens, but then when you start reading the boxes on them, they're just so obscure. Especially that analog one. Like, why the hell would you ever even try to release that for a high definition console? It's just so. Yeah, he kept them on as shelf candy.
Nice.
Out of all the heavy things that he got away. Yeah.
That leads us to a topic that we've got in the title tonight, and that is selling a video game collection. And TJ, you had a large video game collection, and you pretty much sold the entire thing. So, can you talk us through the logistics of that? How many games you had? How long it took? And
yeah. Okay, so I think at my peak, I probably peaked at 1,400 games, but I had a lot of really obscure stuff. I know that a good friend of Figsy and I's, Sean Black, we were sort of going toe to toe to see who could find the most obscure stuff out there for a while. So I had a lot of weird stuff. But like I was talking to the lads before we went live, it was basically around the time that limited run games came out, and I just didn't like where game collecting was going. I thought they were just money grabbing, and it just I got really disenfranchised. So and at the time I wanted to buy a car, and I figured, that could be a good boost. I was moving into other hobbies. So yeah, I made the decision to sell up, and the way I went about it was all of my really good stuff I gave first choice. I sent private messages to the bigger collectors, because I wanted them to go into a collection. I didn't just want to sell it, and I probably done myself dirty out of quite a bit of money, but I didn't want to. I was so out of gaming and collecting. I didn't want to put up with eBay messages, lowballers, all that.
You don't leave your kids at the adoption agency. You can give them to a nice home. You know what I mean? Just make sure they end up somewhere nice. You care about your collection. That does matter. You don't want.
Yeah, and there was some stuff at the time. Like I had a huge slipcover collection. I know that Figsy was starting to collect slipcovers, so he got a lot of my really obscure slipcovers. At the time, I had like a
Figsy likes slipcovers, I hear.
Yeah. Well, I had a it's been so long I can't even remember a Mafia 2 slipcover from Poland that there wasn't even images online of that thing. It was so obscure. I know that since some people have found copies of it, and it's not quite as obscure, but that's what I used to love about collecting back in the day, that we were at a time where everything was exciting. Like when Joe picked up in one of his videos, he picked up El Chavo Kart, and I was watching it. I was like, what is that? Like, it was the biggest thing. It was crazy. So So a lot of my obscure stuff, first choice went to collectors, and thankfully, probably a large portion of that actually went to collectors. Like I was lucky enough for guys to put their hands up and say, "Yeah, I'll give you close to market value, or slightly less as part of a deal." So I got really lucky with that, and then I still had quite a bit left over, and I didn't know what to do with it. I was looking at, there was a lot of fillers and a lot of obscure stuff that people just weren't interested in, Japanese copies, Japanese games and such. And Chris at Newcastle reached out, and he was like, "Hey, I want almost everything you own." So I got really lucky, and I did a deal because he was pushing towards the full set that included the Japanese games, and there were certain items in there, certain PS2 consoles that, like the Ratchet and Clank Aqua console that he was after. So I got really lucky and basically offloaded the rest of my collection to Chris for a good deal that we were both happy with. So I consider myself fortunate in the speed at which I got rid of it, because I think getting rid of a collection is almost probably harder than building a collection.
It takes more work. That's definitely for sure. It's easy to go to a shop and buy something. It's hard to take the time to list it on eBay or to go out and actually sell it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You want to take a loss. That's the biggest thing.
Well, and that's where I decided early. I was like, I knew that I was dreaming if I thought I was going to make money out of a video game collection.
Yeah.
Because you're just not, unless you've got a bunch of rare hen's teeth games, you're just not going to make a profit out of a video game collection. So I knew early on, and I decided early on that I was going to take a loss. I was prepared to take a loss as long as the stipulations were met, i.e. this pile I want to go to collectors, and then this pile I'll sort out and try and sell at another stage. And luckily the collectors took this pile, and Chris didn't get shovelware. He got a lot of really obscure stuff. Like he got my PS2 virtual reality kit that, you don't even find a boxed copy of that. It's rare as rocking horse shit. But so that was in there, the Ratchet and Clank PS2 Aqua console, stuff like that. So yeah, he got well and truly got his money's worth. Collectors filled their shelves with some stuff that I'd managed to track down that they couldn't track down or was maybe too expensive. So it worked out really good. But I wouldn't like the job for someone that sort of really wants to try and get as much money as they possibly can, because it would be a mountain.
So I think that if you want to get the most you can, like you have to do it like at game shows and flea markets and stuff where you can, sell it in person and not pay fees on eBay and stuff like that. But it's still a huge time commitment, and it's not going to be sold in one day. You're going to have to do it a lot. It's a huge time commitment. So if you don't mind, you're paying. You're going to give up some money for some convenience, but it's a lot of convenience. If you can find somebody with a lot of money who wants to buy a huge portion of your collection, that's it. Like you said, there's a value in that, because otherwise it's going to take you. It could take you years to sell that over the course, separately. So is it worth years of your life and years of time and effort to make this extra money? Probably not. If you have a decent job, dude, you make good money. So it comes, if you're making good money in real life as an adult and your time is valuable, you have to consider that to an extent.
Yeah. And that's another thing going into that, if maybe even for new collectors, don't expect to get rich by collecting video games, because that's
not an investment.
It's not going to happen.
No.
Do it as a passion, but don't expect to hold on to this and sell it in 10 years and make twice as much money that you paid for it, because that's probably not going to happen. Now, those folks that collected Nintendo games, yeah, maybe if but that's like 30 plus years that they held on to those collections, So, and that's
And
just
how many?
what's
And
that?
how many of them are? How many of them are there? They're like you can count them on one hand. The guys that have got those sorts of valued.
Yeah, there's not many of them, and
Well, they bought their collections a while ago. That's why that
When
there's
they
so
were
much
cheap.
these days.
Yeah, and also 30 years of time, the dollar value has lost half of its value. So even if you've doubled, if your thing is worth twice as much, but the money is worth half as much, you haven't made anything.
So, for instance,
You actually lost money because inflation and
Yes,
interest you miss out on and everything.
Video game collecting should not be a financial investment. It can be lucrative for some people. It can be if you treat it as a job or whatever it is. But like, I never ever look at it like, oh yeah, hit it rich. If anything, I expect one day for everyone to go, this is fucking dumb, and all of a sudden it's not worth anything, and I'm like, whatever, cool. I can at least finish up my set.
or I like end up croaking, and then and stuff for like
sells it for $20.
What the hell am I going to do with all this stuff? But I will say, so
she'll put a Craigslist up like games, $1 each.
And maybe you guys didn't know, especially folks that are watching. Before I collected PS3, I've always been a collector of something. But before PS3, I was collecting retro, and I had a lot of retro games. I collected Nintendo. I collected, all the systems, Jaguar, like the Atari Jaguar. I was big on collecting for Atari. The 2600 games, 5200, 7800, the weird Odyssey consoles, Odyssey 3000, 2000, you name it. However, I will say, and this is going back, like 15 years or so ago, I had Bubble Bobble Part 2, and these were like some of the rarest NES games I had, and Little Samson, and I'll never forget it because I paid $80, I think, a piece for those, and I thought that was a crazy amount of money back then, which it kind of was, but now, then that was 15 years ago, going till now, I think Little Samson goes roughly like $10,000.
10,000.
Would you have a box? Are you talking like a box copy or a loose copy? Or?
I think loose copies are like maybe like 4,000 or 5,000.
Yeah, loose copies are a lot less.
But still,
I wanted to add to TJ's comments about selling it. So I'm on the other side of the perspective where I'm starting to sell some of my collection, and I do eBay full time. So even doing eBay full time, it's still a bit of a burden for me having to sell my collection on there. I've probably sold 300 games in like 6 months. It's not a process.
But I'll tell the difference between where me and Figs split, because we started collecting PS3 at almost the same time. I think Figs was like a month ahead of me, and that's how the PS3 collector group came about, because we wanted to branch out and network and meet people. The difference is that I fell out of love of collecting. I just wasn't interested in it, and it was easier for me. Whereas Figs went on and collected, but now he's actually making he's got a job as a video game collector / reseller. So you can make a living out of it, but you can't. I don't think you can make money out of your collection. Like I'll clarify that. Like you can make a living out of video games and buying and selling and collecting, but I don't think you'll ever make a profit out of a collection, unless it's like you got a collection of 10 that you paid $10 for and you sell it for 20.
Well, so going back into like my old collection, because I sold it like a good probably like 15 years ago. I saw pictures of it and everything, but luckily, and this is when Craigslist was still like pretty big. I sold a lot of it on Craigslist. I had one guy that bought my entire like NES collection. And yeah, it was great. He came by, he gave me cash. I helped him unload it onto his truck, and that was it. And then a lot of it, I was taking to mom and pop shops like, hey, here's like an Atari 7800 in its box. What will you give me for, So I probably took a huge loss because all of that stuff now is like stupid expensive, but
I can't look at it like that, like looking back saying, like, because the same with me, like some of the games I sold, 10 times the value that I got for them. If I had held on for a year or two, I would have been able to buy 2 cars, but I can't I'm not one to look back and say that sort of stuff. I randomly found a game recently where I'm like, Figs, do you want all this stuff? And I put together a box of stuff that he might be able to resell on his thing. And like, I found a game, and he's like, dude, they're going for like $200 at the moment. I was like, oh, right. It's just
And you're like, this is crap. You can just do whatever you want with it. I'm like, no, I'll sell it for you and give you the money.
But back in the day, like that was literally like a game where I just must have put aside, just go, that probably no one's going to buy that. It was one of the what game? It was
Everybody's Golf 6.
Everybody's Golf 6. Version. Just randomly put it aside, thinking, yeah, no one's going to buy that. And now it's increased in value, and some of the games, because I was buying at the time, we were buying Aquanauts Holiday and those level games for like under $100, but that was still like, oh, these are the expensive games.
That was a lot of money. Sometimes, like $150 for a PS3 games in 2014 was a lot of money.
Yeah. So I sold them for around that same price because I was lucky enough because we had the PS3. I suppose I can't speak for other gaming communities, but the PS3 community was such a tight knit, close community. Like those 4 or 5 years in the collector group, like we became friends, not just sort of people we knew on Facebook. So I was lucky that collectors helped me out by saying, no, they're worth this much. I'm at least willing to meet you halfway. Like, you give me a decent deal and I'll meet you halfway with a decent price. So, and that's one of the keys, I think, to if you do want to sell your collection, is networking with fellow collectors, because you know that your collection is going into another collection where it'll get looked after, and B, a collector is sympathetic with another collector, and most good guys that are collectors will help you out by saying, you know, I know the market value, let's meet somewhere in the middle, as opposed to going to putting them on eBay or Marketplace where someone will be like, that's a video game, that's only worth $20.
Yeah, and then, you know, I bet most people, if you're in a situation they're selling, they may want to be doing it for, you know, a reason they have to, you know, some sort of financial hardship or something. So you can get taken advantage of. So I feel like it is important that if you're in a position you have to sell your collection, that you have those friends you can be like, to get like, you know, something you know, reasonable for it without having to worry about it.
That's a good point, Joe, because I remember I told a few guys that with some of the Xia games that I had, or the more obscure games, I made a point of telling them I'm not in a rush to sell these games, because when you do that, they automatically go, okay, I'm not going to be able to, like, it's going to be harder to try and scam a good price out of this guy, because I'd already made it clear, listen, they're on the market, but I'm not in a rush to get rid of them. That's what they're there for. So if there are games that you don't want to give away, I think that's a good plan, is to sort of put it out there to say that, you know, you're not in a desperate position. Like, you don't need this money for a new liver. You just decided to move on with your hobby, and these are the prices of the games for sale, to stop people, because I mean there's too many sharks out there that'll take advantage of you at the first option.
TJ, looking back at everything, have you got any regrets today selling your collection?
None whatsoever. That's like, I'm not even if I have a conversation with Joe or Ben or Kuba or Johnny Cox from all over the world, we don't even talk about gaming. It'll be just a normal conversation about, hey, what's been going on, you know, this, that. Like, I'm so far removed from it sounds strange because I'm on a collecting podcast, but I'm so far removed from video game collecting and almost video games in general that, I just don't have any regrets whatsoever. I know that I've done the right thing for me. Like, I don't have anything against collectors because I was once a collector. I'm still a collector. Like, I'll always be a collector. I started collecting fucking Matchbox Jeeps, for Christ's sake, and all of a sudden I got 900 fucking toy cars. You know what I mean? Like, once a collector, always a collector.
It's just
but,
fun. It's just fun to collect things, man. Yeah.
Yeah.
You hanging out in that PS3 group, I was going to say that earlier. That's dangerous, man. That's like you're going to relapse. You got to be careful.
Well, I was bored one day and I was like, I'll just send a membership request.
We've been waiting for you to come back for like 4 years. Everyone got excited.
I forgot about it, and then all of a sudden I got like 60 notifications. I was like, oh, what's that? And I got on there and I was all the lads from the old days giving me shit. Yeah,
I think you bring up a good point though, that you're not in the collecting scene, but you're still coming on this podcast, because we still chat like 10 years ago when you were collecting. Our relationship's still exactly the same, as I'm sure it is with all the other collectors and everything. So you became a collector, but you met, real friends from that, and that's people that you're going to interact with for the rest of your life. It's a cool community.
And that was one of the points I made on the last time I was on the podcast, was the fact that, we started out collectors, but like we all made genuine friends. Like I told a story about when I went down to Kieran's house to pick up a game, and the guy invited me in and made me coffee, and we sat down for 3 hours talking. Like, guys don't have to do that when you're just buying a video game off Facebook Marketplace, but because he was a fellow collector, like, we considered ourselves, buddies. And that was the great thing about the early days, and I'm sure it's the same. I see interactions with guys on the PS3 group now that, although they're different to what we went through, because we were like legit going through a discovery period with the PS3, because none of us knew anything about the PS3. It was so like, look at Joe's old videos and Michael Young's old videos. They were speculation. And we didn't know where it was going, so it was a journey of discovery in the old collecting days. But they ended for me personally, and I have no regrets over it.
Yeah, it definitely was. It was more community based back then. I noticed one thing that isn't the same is games were a lot cheaper, and when money was less of a thing, people would help each other out more. So, say someone would discover a game that no one would had, then if it was a regional exclusive, say in Italy, Nicola would get a copy for everyone, and everyone would work out the shipping and get a few games, and it wouldn't be a drama, or it wouldn't be about the money. It would be about the video games, where today it's about the money. And I understand because games are more expensive, but I got into video games collecting because I liked video games, not because I wanted to make money.
And it's crazy that, like, I think about like the collecting group, and I think, that was only a few years ago, but really, like, that was like 7 years ago. That's a long time. And, like, I still talk to you guys, and we started on that. Like I started on my YouTube channel, and then I met you guys through the collecting group. And we've been talking pretty much ever since. It's wild.
Yeah. But I look at since I rejoined the collector group, like, I look at the interactions, and the guys are having fun. At least, and there's new group experts out there that are discovering new stuff. To me, it's a bit of a reach, but at least they are discovering new stuff, and they're interacting, and they're having fun, and that was kind of why I went back into the PS3 group, because I was like, I wonder I got curious as to where the community was at now that basically the large proportion of the library was discovered, and the prices and values had settled down, and people finally knew what the rare games were, and we could look back and say, oh, well, Joe was correct on that one, but way off on that one, and just have a bit of fun looking back to see how
I was way off on a lot of them.
You're spot on a lot of them too. Hey guys, I found this game called Africa. I reckon you should pick it up.
Like, some of the games I put like on my list, like, I thought it would be like, and maybe it's not necessarily rare. It's just a shitty game that no one wants. You know what I mean?
But like you touched on it before the podcast, Joe. that was one of the things I really enjoyed about your videos specifically, were you weren't so much speculating. You were just like, I went out, like you did your pickup videos, and you were like, I found this game, like it's really obscure, and it might have been like that. I remember when you found that, was it Rock of Ages with the green guitar cover? Was that what it was called? No,
Rock of the Dead. That's it.
Rock of the Dead.
Dead.
Yeah, I think it was Rock of the Dead.
I don't know if I showed that on one of my videos. I don't remember showing that game.
It was a game similar to that, where it had a really cool cover, and you were like, "Oh, I found this really cool game," and it's and those, it was those styles of videos, as opposed to Michael Young was very like, this is going to hit in a few years, and he was quite off on a lot of his stuff too.
Yeah. Well, so like it was like I was telling you before the show. Well, usually what I did, because like where I'm at in Virginia, specifically in Virginia Beach, Chesapeake area, there is so many video game stores around this area. I think we have around like 25 GameStops alone, just in like a 20-mile radius or 30-mile radius. And then there's a lot of mom and pop shops, you know. And I would hit up all of these stores. Like I was like wild, like back then. Like, oh, it's Friday or it's Saturday. I'm gonna hit up all of these stores and see what I could find. And games like Africa, I would be hitting these stores like, you know, once a week or whatever, and I would only find this game one time throughout that whole year. And I'd be like, shit, this game is obscure. What the hell is this? Does anybody know?
Yeah.
I'm getting nostalgic vibes right now just hearing this. I remember this like it was yesterday. Like I've been to 20 video game stores in the last 2 weeks, and I've only found this twice. And it's like, all right, that must be rare, because there's only 4 video game stores in my city.
So we were talking about this earlier, but I guess this triggered TJ. I had found this on Amazon, believe it or not, for $55 US. I think this was in 2016. And it's brand new sealed. I haven't seen too many sealed Africa copies, but this is it.
And I had that on my watch list for almost a year, waiting to pull the trigger, and never convinced myself to pull the trigger. And literally, it's one of my favorite collecting stories of all time. Literally, the day that, I went on to Amazon, I was like, that's it. I'm buying that Africa. I'm getting it at $55 a day. That was a lot of money back then for a game. Yeah. And I went there, and it was no longer in my cart, and it was sold out. And I was like, oh, damn it. And then 3 days later or a week later, this guy posts a video going, oh, look, I just picked up. I was sitting there like,
Mario just said, the real gems are the friends we've collected along the way.
That's true.
And AJ said, I used collected Finatic's guides to set up my PS3 game collection. I sold all but my favorite, but I'll always remember collecting in 2017 and 18.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's 100% my experience too. So when I started PS3 collecting, I started watching your videos and Figsy's videos to build my collection too. And yeah, it really helped because, you know, luckily I got in on a lot of those games where the prices were still very reasonable. When your videos were coming out, you were like, you know, hitting it at the right time. And I got them for, you know, I'd say 20% of what they cost now. So thank you. Yeah,
it's
and that's another thing.
Sorry,
go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead, Joe.
No, I was just gonna say, like, that's the thing about, you know, I really feel like this hobby, like, there's a huge advantage to being like the early bird. That's all I gotta say. Like, doing your research and like learning about this stuff now, it's gonna save you so much time and money down the road. Like, if you're really into it, if you're serious about it. If you don't care and you just want to pick up games and play games and have fun and whatever, it is what it is. But if you're like really into the hobby, I mean, like, I can't say how awesome it is having these connections and having these resources and having people who are into like these certain genres or consoles or whatever, these experts. Oh my God, it's so helpful. Like, I love James Johnson PS5 videos, man, and all this stuff, like all that stuff, and watching the posts that they make of what their pickups are. Because, you know, I'm not going for all that stuff, but for me, it's like a catalog of everything that's coming out, and I'm like, oh, this is finally released. Because like, how hard it is to track it all. Like, I see all these games I want, and their pre-orders are up, and I'm not pre-ordering everything the minute I see it, and then I don't know when it comes out, and then, but like, because we're in these groups and we have these connections and these people post this stuff, it's like, so helpful. I can be like, oh, this released this week, I'll pick this up, and I get this, and that's the one I wanted, and I don't know, it's awesome. So the community.
I used to write stuff down as I'm watching Joe's videos or Michael Young's videos, because I'd watch them before I'd go out on a video game hunt to all the stores, so that I'm like, oh yeah, Joe picked that up. I'll have a look for that. And like, it's crazy. It's crazy to think back. Like, I remember seeing when PS3 was at its lowest, like, and they had the bins of PS3 at the front. I used to come across Godzilla copies pretty regularly especially on the Sunshine Coast. For some reason, like, there were just Godzilla copies there, and it's like, if you had known, or like, like Ben picked up. I remember he got it was one of the greatest PS3 calls of all time when he was on the group saying he posted a picture of his new Siberia collection, and he called that very, very early. He said
2015 or something. I remember.
Yeah. He made a really early call, and he got a couple of copies because there was whatever the website was that was selling it originally really cheap, but you could get that really cheap. But without connections, you're not going to know that. So what you were saying, Joe, was like, it's great having these connections, because when you listen to people and you're serious about collecting, like if a big collector like Ben says, pick this game up, Siberia, like, we all went out and picked up a copy of that off that website because it was $30 or something.
Yeah, and look at it today.
Yeah, and so we listened to even though we were experts ourselves, we were still listening to other experts, because that's how you build your collection back in the day. Like, or that's how you do it, I suppose, if you want to do it successfully, that you do it today as well, by listening to other people. No one's an expert on it, but it's great to watch videos and take it all in.
Yeah, it can be really helpful.
That was the best part of like the early days of the PS3 group, and I think we've talked about that before. You talked about it the last time you were on the podcast. Those early days of like people just posting obscure games, like, look what I found, and that's why I originally started like my channel, was because I was just getting into PS3 collecting, or I had started, and Googling stuff, there was no list. There were no, this is how many PS3 games exist. This is the rare games. There was none of that. And Michael Young he was originally the first person to do it. Like, I don't want to take credit. He posted one video and I seen it, and it's just him showing his video games. And I was like, I was starting my YouTube channel, and I was like, that's what I'm going to do. PS3 games, rare PS3 games. Since
your first video was like all about you put out a thank you to Michael Young. I remember that. like this video, I want to take a shout out to Michael Young, because
I wasn't trying to steal his thunder, being the first person to like really step into the PS3 like rare game realm. I just wanted to also do my own thing, because like what he was putting out was not what I felt was the games that I think people should be on the lookout for. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I had a very similar desire when I did my channel. It was basically because you stopped doing videos, Joe, and Michael Young stopped doing videos, and I was collecting a full set. I'm like, well, I'll just start again and do the full series, and I think I ended up doing like 22 videos on rare and collectible PS3 games, which is absurd.
I remember you asked me, Figsy, at the time. You were like, we were talking, and you were like, oh, I'm thinking about like doing a video series on my games, like, and I was like, why are you even thinking about that? Just like, you've got a huge collection. If I had the collection, I'd be doing stuff like that as well, because there was I think when you started, Figsy, people had sort of died off on the YouTube PS3. There wasn't a lot about after that, if my memory serves me right. Like, Joe had stopped. Michael Young had completely disappeared.
Was it Andrew?
Jesus wasn't doing a lot of PS3
there were a few copycats, because I don't remember the dude's name, but like I would put out a video, and like a couple days later, he would put out a video, but of like almost the same games in that order too.
Is that a guy in his
And-
bedroom and he'd like open his wardrobe and stuff?
Yeah,
that was Andrew Kim's a legend. He's such
That's
a
right,
cool
Andrew
guy.
Kim.
He was
he
one of
was
the
awesome.
early ones too, where he's like, and he's in his bedroom and he's like, "Oh, I'm going to show you my pickups." Slide the fucking wardrobe open. All his clothes are there.
So
I used to tease him about that almost every time I spoke to him. I'd be like, "You're still keeping games in your fucking closet, bro."
Hey, I'll be right back. I got to get my charger, my laptop.
Yeah, you're right, Jay.
Yeah.
When Jay gets back, we'll get into the quiz, guys.
sweet.
Yeah.
So one thing
Yeah,
remember how you pointed out, like, collecting for the NES is really profitable now, but it's been 30 years, et cetera, et cetera. So that's one thing I find fascinating too, is that like I still think the interest in collecting PS3, PS4 isn't even remotely close to even started at all. It's not even remotely close. Like it's just a huge generational thing. And like I said, it'll be like another 10 years ish until like the kids who were between the age of 8 and 13 during the PS3, they grew up playing those games. They, once they're in their 30s, all of a sudden that's gonna, I think you'll see there's like a more interest in those videos. You'll see like all of a sudden, people start watching your collectible rare videos even more in 10 years. Like I really do. And because by then, like YouTube will be recommending your videos, I think, because they'll have a lot of views already and you'll already have established yourself as like the matter expert on it. I don't know, man. I just feel like
You've actually almost nailed it, Joe, but you missed one thing. Kids these days don't have attention spans. So my videos that are actually trending right now are all I made shorts a year ago on rare and collectible PS3 games. I got one, it's getting like 300 views a day. And I thought it was a terrible video, but it's the content that they want. I had someone comment jumped in a live stream the other day. He's like, "When's your next PS3 short coming out?" That was the weirdest comment I've ever heard, because I got a full series out that you can watch it on. But yeah, the shorts will be coming soon.
But I think when you say it might kick off in 5 or 10 years. I think also because like these days there's not a lot of new stuff coming out, unknown stuff for the old Nintendo consoles. So by that stage, like, because they are still discovering pieces of the PS3 library. So by that stage, they'll know almost everything out there. Hopefully it'll be documented somewhere. And I think people will be more comfortable in jumping into collecting because of the fact that the library will be like known as well.
Flushed out, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's more fun. All the work will be done.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Welcome back, Joe. Well, now that Joe's back, let's get into the quiz, guys.
Let's do it.
There we go.
It's time to play. Oh.
We're time to play.
I'm going to go over the score from chat before we get into it. As you guys know, chat plays in our quiz as well. And the way it's going to work is the first person in chat to get 5 points will win themselves a video game shipped anywhere in the world. So you guys have to win it. And it's only in the live streams. And to get a point, I need you guys to give me the full title. It has to be the correct title, all the words. So just to give you an update on the score, we've got Windy Corner TV. He's got 1 point. Jimmy J's got 1 point. Jason Trickster's got 1 point. Banffy's got 1 point. Cyrus has got 1 point. Mario's got 1 point. And Lulu Girl's got 1 point as well. So no one's hit 2 points yet. Now we will bring up chat's question first. So guys, this is just for chat. So chat, your question this week is, what is the video game? Now, we'll leave this one up for about 10 seconds for you guys, but you've got until the duration of the quiz to answer, guys. And only one person gets the point. So you can help each other or you can keep your information to yourself. All right, while we're letting chat think about their answer, who would like to go first today?
I'll fail first.
All right, TJ's going to be going first. Joe will be going, Joseph will be going second, and Joe Rad will be going third. Once again, Pavel and Sylvan have provided all the questions for today's quiz. So thanks so much, guys. We've got some awesome questions. And let's get into it. Question number 1 for TJ. All right, question 1. What game series didn't have their own branded pasta? Is it Sonic, Pac-Man, Metal Gear, or Final Fantasy?
I'll say
What
Final Fantasy.
Incorrect. Joseph?
Me?
Yes, you.
Yeah. I'll say Joseph
No, I
and
was
Joe.
like, which
I'll be
one?
Joe. I'll be Joe Rad this entire time.
Okay. What did TJ say?
TJ said Final
said-
Fantasy.
Oh no, it's Metal Gear.
The correct answer is Metal Gear. So we had a Sonic the Hedgehog spaghetti shapes, Pac-Man pasta in spaghetti sauce, and a Final Fantasy pasta sauce with chicken and mushroom.
Wow.
And before we get into the next question, I can reveal that we have a correct answer from chat. And I believe Cyrus came in first with Zapper 1 Wicked Cricket. So Cyrus is the first person to go to 2 points. Congratulations.
I didn't even understand that. I was like, what the hell is that?
I'm hopeless at those.
We're American,
Seriously,
bro.
question.
So as soon as I see cricket, I'm like, I'm out.
Zapper 1 Wicked Cricket. That was a tough one. But congrats, Cyrus.
Yes,
We'll
game.
update
I never even heard of that game.
That's impressive.
Joe, question 2. Joseph, this one's for you.
All right.
Which popular fashion brand has collaborated with Microsoft and made 100 limited edition Xbox Series X consoles? Was it Prada, Louis Vuitton, Gucci, or Balenciaga?
Louis Vuitton.
Incorrect. J-Rad?
Just because Bill Gates goes to that island with Mr. Epstein, I'm going to say Balenciaga.
Oh,
I almost spat out my
Children.
coffee. Incorrect.
Play children's
Did
games.
you answer the steal? You got a 50-50.
Well, if I go on that theory, then I'd almost say the devil wears Prada, but I'll say Gucci.
Correct answer, and the first point to TJ. It was Prada. It was Gucci.
Wait a minute. Okay, it was Gucci. All right.
All right, J-Rad, this one's for you. Question 3.
Okay.
PS3 fighting game includes 3 fighting games. Which game is
Oh,
not
come on.
present in the compilation? Soul Calibur 4, Soul Calibur 5, Tekken Tag Team 2, or Tekken 6?
I own this too. Can I cheat and look over there?
No.
Why do I think
I have to
it's-
cheat though because the answer isn't here, so I have to just confirm.
Oh, God. Just trying to remember, dude. Oh no, this is really gonna piss me off because, like I said, I own it. Shit. Soul Calibur 5 is not on it.
Incorrect.
Damn it!
TJ?
I'm gonna say I don't think this is one I ever owned, to be honest. I can't remember owning this copy. Maybe I did, maybe I didn't. I'll say Tekken 6.
Incorrect. Joseph for the steal.
oh man.
Between Soul Calibur 5 and Tekken Tag Tournament 2.
I think it's Soul Calibur 4 is not on there.
Sorry, yeah, Soul Calibur 4. I even tried to trick you there and you got it right. Correct answer was Soul Calibur 4.
What is that? Oh, yeah, I don't have that.
God
Yeah, I don't.
damn it! So seriously, I'm so irritated right now. I'm so freaking irritated.
Did that, especially after spooling us about being a big Tekken player.
We
before
were
the
just
show,
talking
so-
about. I knew it was Soul Calibur, and I got the damn wrong game too. Like, why would
He's gonna laugh
Did that-
soon because there's another question in here that we were talking about, and it's really fucking obscure. So whoever gets
Just-
it, is gonna laugh.
Did that have a slipcover that was just black?
No,
that
but you're
game?
thinking of Marvel vs. Capcom 3 slipcover.
Oh, okay, yeah, right. Yeah, I don't think I ever owned that game.
All right, guys, at the end of round 1, Joseph's got a lead of 2 points. TJ's behind on 1, and Joe Rad is yet to score. It's still anyone's game. All right, question number 4. TJ, this one's for you. So I'm going to play some music from a video game, and you have to tell me what video game this is from.
If this is like a if this is like a role playing game, I'll say I don't know. I have no idea, so I'll just say Final Fantasy 6.
Good guess, but incorrect. Joe, what game is it from?
Final Fantasy 7.
It was Final Fantasy 7. Really good guess.
I've never played it. There's a bit of bring on the hate, but I've never played it.
That's all right. All right, Joseph, this one's for you. Question 5. What is the name of this device?
The iToy, the PS2 iToy.
Yeah.
That is the PS2 iToy, correct.
Dominating.
I'm getting all the easy ones.
All right, question 6. Gerard, this one's for you. What word is missing on the cover of this PlayStation-themed pasta?
He gets the Final Fantasy VII win theme. I get fucking pasta. Play your pasta.
Play your
Fucking
pasta.
A. That's right. Yeah, baby. I play with my pasta every day, guys. Wait a minute.
Good
All
guess.
right, guys, at the end of round 2, we'll get a quick score update. So
I'm on the
TJ
board.
and Joe Rad both got 1 point. And Joseph's pushed ahead to 4 points at the end of 2 rounds. He's killing it.
How many quizzes have you won, Joe Rad? Just out of curiosity.
A few.
I think I've got Joe's stats. I can pull it up. Give me 1 second here. We keep everyone's stats here on the podcast. So if you're a repeat guest, you can keep your record going. And I will just confirm that AJ has got the best stats in the quiz. So AJ is the champion. So Joe has played 15 games. He's won 8 and lost 7. So he's got a 53% winning record.
It's not
It's like
bad.
my goddamn Overwatch record. Damn it. Never get out of bronze, bro. All right, sorry.
All right, let's move into round 3. So question 7. This one is for TJ. What console is this device for?
Did we just talk about this?
Maybe.
There's my attention span.
How dare you call my grandmother a console? Sorry. No.
The Game Boy?
That is, of course, the sewing machine for the Game Boy. And I can't believe that we brought it up before the quiz.
That is really random.
Oh my God.
And I even said, what did I say?
That's a legit-
all these weird things end up as quiz questions. All the weird accessories.
and it's a legit Singer model too. It's not even some cheap ass fucking.
Yeah, it's a good sewing machine. That's awesome.
It's just
All right, Joseph, question 8. This one is for you. What is common between these 3 game titles?
Lies.
The correct answer is the word lies in the title.
Yeah.
Good one. Nice.
I only knew that because of Truth of Lies, and then we were literally talking before the show of what I was most excited about, and it's Mortal Kombat and Lies of P.
yeah.
That's
That's
that weird. That's that weird.
we talked about everything on the quiz before the show started.
Yeah, except
Wasn't planned.
except the Final Fantasy win theme.
That's true.
All right, Joe, this one is for you. What is common between these 4 game titles?
What's common between them?
Yeah.
What the fuck? What do you mean? Like, is there like a word missing, or just like? I'm confused about this question,
What
sir.
is common between these 4 game titles?
What is common about them?
The ultimate
What do you-
jester said they're all trash.
I'm Ghost of Tsushima's the balls, dude. And Peprium is a good game. What do you mean? I don't understand the question. Like,
That's
they all-
obscure as fuck.
I don't see what you mean. Like, what's in common about them? They're all fucking. I don't know. I really have no idea what it's asking me. Like, oh god.
A little bit outside the box for this one.
You think? Dude, I literally have legit no idea what this could possibly be asking.
Gonna hand it over to TJ.
Yeah, go for it, bro.
TJ, what is common between these 4 game titles?
I haven't played any of them.
Well, also correct. That isn't the answer I'm looking for.
Damn it. No idea. I'll say they all end in no. I have no idea. I can't even think of anything. Same publishing house. No
Not
idea.
the same publisher. Joseph, what's common about these 4 game titles?
They all have a male antagonist on the front cover, maybe?
So the answer we were looking for, and someone in chat actually got it, is they were all released in 2020.
Boo.
The Sega game was?
Yeah, so it must have been a re-release, the Genesis game.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Does anyone know anything
No.
about that one?
Paprium is not a right. No, that was like a Kickstarter project that took forever to actually come out. So that was one of those like, yeah, they took money from people like a decade ago, and they stopped posting for like 6 years, and everyone thought like they got ripped off, and then all of a sudden it like showed up.
I'd like to post a protest, please.
Wow.
Posting a protest.
All right, guys, at the end of round 3, J-Rad's got 1 point. TJ's moved to 2 points, but Joseph's killing it with 5 points.
God damn it.
It's still technically possible for TJ to come back at this point. You just need to win.
I've got to go into a quiz with an expert.
All right, TJ, question 10. I'm going to show you 2 photos, and just like the chat question, you have to work out the title from these 2 photos.
Oh, God.
TJ, this is your question.
What? Traffic sign? No idea. Traffic sign. Accident. And it's a video game title.
It's a video game. It is 5 photos, but it's the second lot of 4 photos all represent the same thing.
Insurance simulator?
Can I hand this one over to Joseph?
Yeah, I have no idea, bro. Sorry.
Joseph?
I was gonna say traffic report, but I have no idea. I'm kind of.
Oh, I just saw it in the chat. I know what it is.
No, looking at chat if you haven't answered.
I've answered, bro.
J-Rad?
I don't know, dude. I don't know. Pass. No idea.
So chat got this one. It was Hitman Contracts.
That's a good one.
And Cyrus is killing it with the answers.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, Joseph, this one is for you. It's the same concept. What is the video game from the photos?
Kane Hair Dog Week. Kane Hair Dog Week. Hold on. Kane. Kane and Lynch, maybe?
Full title?
Oh, yeah. I know what it is.
Kane and Lynch, Hot Dog Week. I have the Kane and Lynch games, and of course they're like obscured and I can't see them. But that's cheating anyway. Kane and Lynch,
You got this, Joe.
Dog Week.
Oh, almost.
I don't know. Kane and Lynch Dog Week. Shit.
Dog week shit. Yep. That's it.
I can't take that. I'll hand it over to Joe Rad for the steal.
I'm gonna say Kane and Lynch Dog Days.
Yeah.
Correct answer was Kane and Lynch Dog Days.
Damn.
You had it too, man. All right, final question. This one's for Joe Rad. Same concept, Joe.
Okay. Spirit King. I Donkey Kong. Okay, so what's with the blurred out and the block stuff? Is that like, am I
You're
supposed to
missing
ignore
word.
that, or is that the
No,
word I'm supposed to be
That's the
focusing
word that
on?
you're after.
Okay, yeah, all right, that's what I thought. So,
I know.
Monkey Island.
Monkey Island is correct. Joe takes a point.
Nice.
After a final push from Joe, we've got a final score of TJ at 2 points, Joe Rad on 3 points. But our winner of the Figsy quiz goes to Collector Finatic 101. Joe, congratulations.
Far too good.
And well done to Cyrus for taking not just this week's chat question, but like half of the questions he got right of the quiz as well. So well done, Cyrus.
Your name gets carved into a plaque, like a golden plaque in Figsy's house, because you won. So congratulations. There's like a
Figsy, you
hallway
need
with
to,
pictures.
On the quiz, I've been meaning to say you need to put up a you need to get the PS3 trophy sign and put the jingle PS3 trophy up to the winner.
That'd be cool.
It would be good.
And have the trophy.
Oh, that's a smart idea in general. If we could get like actual like,
Bling.
fake achievements and just have them in general post up.
I used to do
things.
I used to do it for my mate's band. Every time he'd do something, I'd send him like a. There used to be an app that you could create a trophy on. Because I used to do. Remember on the old days of the PS3 group when I used to run monthly themes, and it'd be like, okay, this month we're going to show us your fighting games, and that's how we learned a lot of the library too. Was people going, oh, this is my fighting game collection, and you'd be like, oh, what's that one? And then at the end of it, for those that participated, I'd give them a monthly trophy.
I got a comment in chat here that Cyrus says, I actually sold a game to Figsy and I doodled my name in a certain page. So yeah, my name's carved in his house and he doesn't know.
There you go.
I'm going to go through all my games now and try and find
every single game. He probably will too.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Mm.
That's gonna annoy me forever now, Cyrus.
Don't tell him the game.
I'm inside your house.
This is going to annoy me for like a little while. That really is. I'm like, oh man, I love these games too.
I'll be right back, guys.
So I know you say you sold a lot of your collection, TJ. Did you play anything at all? Did you get into emulation to replace your collection? Anything like that? PC? Nothing?
Go to the if there's an arcade nearby, I'll go and throw coins in an arcade machine.
That's cool.
That's what I grew up on before. Well, even when the Nintendos came out and the early Segas, I was still at the arcade throwing coins into Rygar and
House of the Dead.
Shinobi and
Shinobi.
Yeah, just the old side scrollers, Shinobi, the old fucking Wonder Boy games, all that stuff.
It's awesome.
Street Fighter. So yeah, if there's a good arcade nearby, I'll go and spend a night there. But gaming wise, not at all.
So bringing that into the conversation, I don't know if it's popular in Australia, but like in the U.S., there's been an uptick in them for a good maybe 4 or 5 years, arcade bars. Basically, it's like a bar, but like people have thrown arcade machines in them now. And we have a couple
that was
here. We have a couple here where it's just all retro games. It's not like newer arcades. They have Mortal Kombat 3, Pac-Man, all of that, Galaga, and then it's also a bar. I didn't know if those were like a thing down your way.
That was one of my plans to. Can you guys hear me? Okay, my AirPods just died.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was one of my plans when I sold up. I was before I decided to get a car. I wanted to help fund me and a mate were going to do an arcade bar, but we were going to do like a fighting bar, so all fighting arcades. Call it. We're going to do something like burger fights.
That sounds like a liability.
Yeah.
You serve alcohol and nothing but fighting games. Oh my god.
Well, no, we weren't going to sell alcohol. We were just
all right.
a burger joint, but with
okay, gotcha.
But yeah, they're certainly starting to pop up more and more over here. That's for sure.
We got one in my city called Empire Arcade. It's really cool. I actually sold my kiosk to them. One of my buddies, Jason, owns it, and he collects pinball machines, and he's got 15 different kiosks from PS1 to PS4 to Dreamcast. Pretty sure he's got a GameCube, a Wii kiosk, Xbox 360, and he just constantly rotates them in the bar, and he rotates his pinball machines, and he runs an Airbnb in town that's like a pinball house, and you can book out this house, and it's just full of pinball machines and arcades, and
that's awesome.
Yeah, it's just so much fun. It's really cool.
I want to get the Virtual Boy kiosk. If you could find it, I've only seen one, and that thing looks wild. Look at
I need to find a photo for you guys, but he got a pickup a few years ago that was 15 kiosks all at once. It was $20,000, but it was a once in a lifetime opportunity that you're never going to come across again.
I noticed there's a couple on Marketplace at the moment. There's a guy selling a PS2, PS1, PS3 kiosk, all separately, of course. But the PS3 kiosk is pretty shitty condition, but the PS2 kiosk is really nice.
DJ, you got a PS3 kiosk for sale, I believe?
Soon, when I get around to putting it back together. But yeah,
if anyone's looking for a kiosk, reach out to TJ.
Yeah, reach out to Figsy. He knows how to contact me. But it's got a hacked PS3 console in it with 30 odd couch co-op games.
Oh yeah, nice.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think that I don't know. I miss arcades, but it's so hard. I was talking about this with actually some of my friends too, but back in the day, there was always that gap between the home console experience and the arcade experience that always made it exciting to go to arcades because you're getting a better game. You know what I mean? The Shinobi in the arcade was better than the Shinobi at home. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's so hard to recreate that experience. So arcades these days are either just going with the whole retro thing, which I've seen is be successful, or we have Dave and Buster's. I don't know if you guys ever heard of stuff like that. We have these big arcades where they have just massive VR machines, and they have giant arcade machines like Space Invaders that take up a wall and stuff like that. So it's still kind of cool. You can go in and have these experiences you can't have at home, but I think that's super important if you want to try to push people to get out of their houses. It has to be better than the home experience, which is why I don't go to the movies anymore. I don't know about you guys, but I got a 65-inch 4K OLED TV, surround sound. I'm you gotta get me to go to the movies. It better be something freaking fantastic. Because
I still go to the movies. I go to the movies at least twice a month, depending on what the movies are playing.
So I mean, it's 5 years.
My experience just growing up was just out of. We loved it, but it was also convenience because I grew up on a farm and I had two choices after school. I could either jump on the school bus and go out to the farm and do absolutely nothing, or I could wait in town for Dad to finish on the building site, and I could walk past the building site. He'd throw me a bunch of coins, and then he'd pick me up after he finished work at the arcade.
Yeah.
So that's what I did almost every single chance I got.
Yeah,
no brainer for a kid
as well.
100%.
Yeah, go home and do nothing or go to the arcade.
Yeah, and that was when Dad would
chuck me a couple of bucks worth of, cash and 20 cents for 3 credits and shit. Like you could have been there all day with a couple of bucks from your parents. It's awesome.
Can't do that anymore.
Unless you play Double Dragon and then you're out of there by 40 minutes.
Yeah,
It's funny though, because to your parents, it would have been like a $2 babysitter for 3 or 4 hours.
Yeah, because it was like a safe place. Like it was, the people. It was actually in the back of a video store, Video Easy, and like the people that ran the video store knew that there were lots of kids out the back. So if they saw suspicious activity, and because it was a small, like I grew up in a small town, even though it was on a farm, it was a small town. Like if they saw a suspicious guy walk out the back, like they'd go out there and say, "Hey, what are you doing? Like, why is an adult out here?" And if you know what I mean. So it was completely safe. And even back then, I mean, I'm talking the early to mid 80s, even back then was like people didn't think about getting abducted or anything like that. Like you were just walking around the streets at all times. It's just a different era, but
my mother used to kick my ass out of the house and be like, "Do not come home until 6.
It's dark.
Yeah.
Just leave. Just leave. Go somewhere else." They would make me leave. It's not like how it is now.
Yeah, we used to get kicked out of the house, and they'd say you can't come home until the street lights came on.
Yeah, my mom said you play too much games and you got to go outside and play, which is fine. I'm glad we did, but like all I did is get in trouble. I should have just played games. Just me.
Yeah, but you made a good point about the fact that back then arcades were a better quality of gaming experience over the home console.
There was always a big gap. Yeah, and sitting in a Daytona USA game machine in the seat was always an experience, and the sounds and I don't know, just the whole thing. Like when you walk into an arcade, it was just like, oh man,
dude, I can still hear the Daytona USA like music playing because that would be echoing throughout the whole arcade. Or you had the I think I've mentioned this before, like the Colossus roar from the X-Men like fighting game.
Yeah, dude, I love that game.
Colossus roar, and that would always echo throughout the arcades as well.
So fighting games.
When you got a high score and you got to put your name in the machine, and everyone got to see your name.
I would always put ass just because it was always like there's. I was like a dumbass, like 10-year-old, and I thought ass was so funny, like to be at the top of the leaderboard.
The Daytona game always reminds me of pool comps because when that was big out here, I was going around sort of hustling pool around all the pubs, and every pub had the Daytona. So you'd be in a pool comp playing pool, having beers, and that game would be blaring around the atmosphere of the pub. And so while you're waiting for your match on the pool comp, you'd be inevitably challenging someone on Daytona. Drunk.
Hell yeah.
Hey guys, let's get into some show and tell, shall we?
Oh, right.
So we like to show off some pieces from our collection. They've got some stories attached to them. Now, TJ, I know you got a really interesting piece to show tonight. You want to go first?
Yeah, sure. You'll have to bear with me. It's not long-winded, but I've got to explain it. So one of the things I was always interested in was unique storylines, niche markets, history behind certain games or certain things in the collecting in business. And one thing I came across by accident was I was looking into what a game had to do to become a greatest hits / essentials title. And so I started looking into that, and I can't remember the figures. They have changed over time, but it's always been something like they had to sell 100,000 copies in 3 months to be eligible for greatest hits / essentials. So the more I looked into it, the more I discovered that because everyone knows that Australia has platinum and essentials, North America's greatest hits. Euro has the same as Australia, basically, and the Japanese have their own brand of greatest hits. But almost every region has their own specific greatest hits. And the more I delved into it, the more I discovered that only one game of the entire And I'm not speaking of this as gospel because if someone proves me wrong, I'll be like, beautiful. There's a nice addition to the collection. But as far as I can tell, and I've researched this quite a bit, there's only one game that has appeared as the greatest hit in every single region in the world. And Figs knows it. I don't know if Joe Rad, if Figs has filled you in. If anyone wants to have a quick guess what it might be.
So we're talking
Which
PS3 games.
Which PS3 game is the only game to appear on every greatest hits from every region around the world?
Sounds like a future quiz question.
For real.
Yeah.
I think I have. Is it Elder Scrolls?
No.
Metal Gear Solid 5.
So I'll tell you, it is
God of
War 3.
That makes sense.
So God of War 3 was released, and as I said, the criteria for greatest hits is it's got to sell a certain amount of games in a certain amount of time.
I believe the PS3 was 500,000 for Essentials, and then it was $1 million for Platinum. That's why there's more Essentials than Platinum.
Yeah. So you have God of War, the vanilla normal edition, and in Australia we had Platinum and Essentials, which there's the OzPower Platinum and Essentials. Can everyone see that all right? Yep.
Yep.
And then we crossed over to America. America only had the greatest hits. So it was eligible for greatest hits. While we're over near there, we go to Brazil and we have Favoritos. And this is one of the smallest markets for greatest hits titles. It only had, I don't know what it was, maybe 30
It was
odd,
like 60 or something.
A couple of guys have got the full sets, but so it was eligible for that.
Those are awesome. The set looks
Then
so
we
cool.
we'll go to Japan because everyone knows that Japan has one as well. So it was eligible for the Japan version. And then Figsy's got a couple of photos in Europe. So Europe has, so far I've found 3. There is a Europe Essentials. There's a Euro Platinum. And this German Essentials, which it's the same thing, but it's got the different little logo down the bottom for the variant collectors. So there's 3 different Essentials with 3 different logos. There's a Platinum I own these. They're with John Cox, but I just don't have them on me. That's why I'm showing photos. But there's a Platinum. And then I've recently found this one, which is a Euro Portugal exclusive with a little Portuguese flag printed on the cover, which is kind of unique. And then finally we have China received their own English Chinese copy of the greatest hits. I think that's called PlayStation 3 The Best, which is what the Asian versions were. So PlayStation 3 The Best. And then in I think it's Korea. Correct me if I'm wrong, Figsy. I can't remember, but we had the Big Hit series, which is this one. Is this Korea, Figs?
Yeah, that's South Korea.
So we had this one, which is like the platinum version of Korean Big Hits, and finally the Korean Big Hit variant.
That's cool.
So it is the only game that appears on every single greatest hits region that there is. The only one that comes close is The Last of Us, but it doesn't appear on one of the Korean versions and another one that escapes me. But yeah, God of War is. There's an argument to be made that it's the most anticipated game ever because it's.
DJ is the reason why God of War 3 got the version.
Yeah, fucking oath. Yeah, I just thought I really enjoy those sorts of little backstories behind certain games, and I did tell Figsy so because I'm not a collector anymore. We don't know what we're going to do, but I'm giving away this collection to someone at some stage, all of them. So I don't know whether it'll be, Figsy mentioned maybe a quiz. I'd prefer it to go to a God of War fan. But I'll work with Figsy over the next couple of weeks and we'll try and work out a way that we can run a competition where someone wins all of these random, obscure greatest hits titles of God of War 3.
I would say have like a quiz, but it all be God of War focused.
That's what we were thinking, making a God of War style quiz. Or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I just found that really interesting that that one game features on every. First of all, I found it interesting that every region has a greatest hits of their own, and then as far as I can tell, God of War 3 is the only one out there that appears on every single one of them.
I didn't know that.
So, yeah, kind of cool. And that's
That's
also
cool.
the only.
I like that. It just really
also
shows that God of War 3 was popular in every single country it came out in.
Yeah, that's why I say there's an
Game's so
argument
good.
to be made that it's the most anticipated game on the PS3 system because it literally had to have sold very quickly a very large amount of money, and which it has done all over the world. So, interesting little backstory.
Yeah,
The
it's
history
still
of the PS3.
as good as the new God of War games are. The first three are the best. I don't give up. They're the
I
best.
remember playing the first one on the PS2 demo. You played the first stage.
Dude, that was
I
incredible.
played it over and over again. There was just that one
It was
stage
PS2
over
demo.
and over until it came out.
The game is amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, up next, Joe?
All right. Yeah. All right. So I just picked up this game. So if I get any questions wrong about it, it's not my fault. I'm just kidding. So the first game, I said I've been picking up random PS2 games lately. I just like stuff I wanted. Not going hard or anything, but every once in a while I'm grabbing a few that I want. And this is one that I wanted for a while, so I grabbed it.
Love
It's
it.
the Aqua Teen Hunger Force Zombie Ninja Pro-Am. I'm not sure how to this. Do you guys know? Are anyone here familiar with Aqua Teen Hunger Force? Anyone watch the show besides me? Have you guys ever seen it?
Nope.
Oh man. So it's a really amazing cartoon that was on Cartoon Network. I can't even like describe it because it's insane. But it's about like a meatball and a milkshake and a thing of French fries that live in a house, and they're like on a crime fighting team, but they don't fight any crime. And then they have a neighbor who's like this guy from New Jersey, and it's named Carl. I can't describe it. You have to watch it. It does. I can't. It's not going to make any damn sense. But it's based on that show. It's really funny, and this is like a golf game, but you also like murder things and fight things. It looks completely wild, and it looks really funny. And it's like a cell shaded game. And yeah, I don't know. It's just like I said, I love Aqua Teen Hunger Force, so I had to pick it up. So yeah, so I grabbed that. Next, I got this one just because it was hella cheap. I already own this on PS4, but the Rocky Reshrine for the Switch, it was on sale for like $17 or something like that, and that's a really good price for a Switch game. And you want to talk about speculating or whatever. The SNES game, Pocky Rocky, is very expensive, so I can't imagine this will be worth less than $17. So I definitely picked it up to have it in my Switch collection. It's really good.
That's Zoom too, so it's the same people that did Africa on PS3, for example.
It's a really fun game if you've never played it. It's awesome. It's a really good one. So this obviously I had to pick up just because I'm committed, and if they release any more VR games on PSVR 1, I have to purchase them because I have a full set. So I'm going for every single one that comes out.
Yeah.
So this is the new one that just came out. It's called Desperate Vladivostok. It's like a first-person, action shooting type game. It looks like kind of trippy, like kind of artsy. The fighting style. I don't know how to describe it. Like stylized, I guess. But it looks really good. I probably won't open this just because I play on PSVR 2 mostly now. But
Are they doing
I didn't think they would keep making VR 1 games with VR 2 out now.
there's still a few trickling out here and there.
Yeah.
There's
Maybe it was
one,
in development a long time ago, and they just took a
Yeah.
while to get it out or something.
probably.
Have they or are they doing a VR for PS5?
Yeah.
Yeah, they already do. They have PSVR 2.
It came out.
And they have I'm pretty sure there is a physical PSVR 2 copy that came out for this as well. If you
Okay,
do
makes
want to
sense.
pick it up for PS, so I'll probably end up picking it up for PSVR 2.
But from a development perspective, they would have had to make two different games if that's the case.
I believe the technology is quite different, which is why a lot of the companies didn't port PSVR 1 games directly to PSVR 2 because it is the interface between the two units is just totally different, like the way it works with the camera and BSR1 on the light system, and then the new one's all sensor based. It's like completely different. So yeah, I mean, I'm assuming I know nothing about making games, but it's definitely different enough. I could see it being a pain in the ass. Let's put it that way. Yeah, can I just tell you that my PSVR headset 2, I already like broke it after like 6 months. Did I tell you this already?
Yeah,
I Beat Sabered it to death. I played, so I got Beat Saber and I put like 70 hours into it in like, I don't know, like a month and a half. I played so much and I killed the headset. It like died. So I replaced it and got a new one.
Did you walk outside without the headset on going, oh, this world's weird?
No, but I did have like a permanent fucking ring around my face. I looked like a raccoon, you know what I mean? No, but so no joking, I started getting like acne because I was sweating so much wearing the damn thing so much.
Shit.
So I had to like get like my skin routine going.
Wait, so if you broke it, did Sony like replace it for you?
Yeah, they did.
Oh, okay.
They gave me a refurbished unit, which so far has worked okay, but it's actually given me a couple problems. So just so you know, I'm a little disappointed with the PSVR 2 build quality right now because they're not. I'm having some trouble, and I'm not mean to them, or I don't drop them or damage them or anything. Like I'm just using them, and it should be fine. My PSVR 1, no problems. So anyway, besides point. So this, I absolutely was like really actually looking forward to this, and I'll probably end up picking it up on the Switch at some point too, but I don't know when. Maybe I dream it'll get cheaper. It probably never will, but it's Tunic. I don't know if you guys have heard of this game.
Oh yeah, love this little cover.
I just got that too as well. I'm still waiting on the manual though.
On the what?
On the the hardcover manual.
Is there supposed to come with more stuff? You mean like a different edition? You mean, or
so I think it came from
Fangamer or something,
or Fangamer. Yeah, Fangamer put that out, but they also have like the hardcover like instruction manual.
Oh, I see. Oh, okay, yeah, and it looks like a Zelda. Like the original like NES Zelda.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not like a manual that fits inside the game or anything.
There's a manual in that case too.
Oh, okay. Maybe that's a different one. So you must be talking about like an extra thing. Either way, it's like a top-down Zelda type game, Zelda inspired game with like with modern graphics. It looks gorgeous. I haven't played it yet, but I've been looking forward to it for a long time. I've heard really good things about it, and like I said, I'll probably get it on the Switch too. But this is a really nice edition, by the way. It comes like a nice slip cover. It's nice and heavy. It's got some beef to it. So yeah.
Yeah, you should play that immediately. That's a really great game.
Bro, the backlog is infinite, but I do want to play it immediately. But we'll see. This is what I'm going to be playing immediately. I'm going to be playing this because I can't wait. I actually paid full price for this, and I really wanted to play it. So it's the Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Yeah, I haven't heard too much. Is that kind of like the Friday the 13th game?
It's exactly like that. It's like an online only experience, kind of like Dead by Daylight or Friday the 13th or Hunter, Predator.
They're meant to have done a really good job replicating like the movie and scenes from the movie, and it's really scary, and you feel like you're helpless, and because they got a fucking chainsaw and everything. So I've heard good things about it.
So there's not a lot of horror movies that actually I think are scary, but the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, I think that isn't actually scary. Like I because it's not. Freddy and Jason are like magic, that doesn't scare me because it's like so ridiculous. But some lunatic with a chainsaw, that's totally possible. Some asshole with a chainsaw just chasing me around trying to chop me up. That's scary as hell. I could totally see that in some crazy freaking house down in the middle of nowhere, a bunch of weirdos. I don't know. It's got enough realism to it where I always found it to be legitimately
It's based on a real story too.
Yeah, it's sort of. Yeah,
which is even scarier.
Loosely based.
Yeah,
whatever. Based on a real story these days.
But I've been watching people play it online, and it looks scary as hell, man, and it looks really fun. So I'm looking forward to playing it. And that was my last pickup.
Nice. Jason, what do you go first for show and tell, man?
All right. So were we supposed to just do pickups, or was it?
Bit of everything. I don't pick new games up these days, so I just show old games.
Yeah, it can be whatever you want to show up. I
definitely don't pick any games up. So,
all right, so as everybody could see, I'm a huge. Let me move out of the way. I'm a huge Dark Souls fan. And I have more like
Shrine.
yeah, I have more like over here. Like I don't know if you could see the huge statues.
Oh my goodness. Oh yeah.
We are not
These are
worthy.
massive. Holy crap.
So for this one, and I just now I have like the lightsabers going on again. I have this obscurity. So this I found locally many years ago. Like I didn't grade this. I'm not really into grading games literally at all. But I found this locally at a store, and they had no idea what the price was of it because none were like on eBay or anything. And I offered them, I believe, $75 or $80. Like I highballed them because I wanted it, and they were like, okay. And this is the Amazon German exclusive steelbook for Bloodborne. It's really hard to make it out, but it does say Bloodborne like across it, and it's called the Saw Cleaver edition.
Okay.
Yeah, and this is like, although I have like a bunch of Dark Souls stuff, this is like my main piece. Like I'll probably never get rid of this. But yeah, like if you could find one online, there you go. If you could read that Saw Cleaver edition steelbook.
Yeah, have you heard what's happening with this piece lately?
What's that?
So this particular steelbook, a lot of people have been faking it, and you can go online and buy a fake copy for like $50. So unfortunately, there's that many fakes out there that it's lowered the price of the original.
That sucks.
Yeah.
So
But if you're in the market for a copy, be sure that it does have that holographic Bloodborne. It actually has a manual inside too, a piece of paper. So if you don't have the piece of paper, it mightn't be real.
Well, this one
was graded.
I mean,
in the store, Joe?
I know it's graded, but it's also sealed as well.
You got yours before they were being faked. It's only been a few years.
Oh yeah, I've had that since like 2000. When did Bloodborne come out? Like 2015. I think I got that in 2016.
Yeah.
And it was, and so what sort of store was it in, Joe? Just like a mum and pop store?
Yeah, it was just
pre-order only through Amazon in Germany. Yeah.
So someone just literally just decided to go in there and sell parts of their video games.
They had other stuff too that I bought. There was like a Dark Souls 2 like black armor edition that was also graded. I bought that as well from them, but mainly I wanted that Bloodborne steelbook.
Did you know about that when you saw it? When you seen it, sorry?
No, I had no idea. I didn't even know like there was another steelbook because like the US got like their own steelbook, but it was really lame looking, if I'm being honest. And then I seen that, I was like, oh, that's cool. I want that.
How much is it going for, if you don't mind me asking?
So in Europe, you can get it for about 200 euros, but depends on the country. Like in Australia, you're looking around $500 for it. I'm sure America would be around the same.
Gotcha. So anytime anyone asks, you talk about how much anything costs, I just assume in Australia it costs like a third more. It's like
because I have a weird glare going on.
Although the Japanese changeover at the moment is ridiculously good.
So you can get your advantages. Like it'll either be a good time to buy or a good time to sell, and then
the Australian dollar to yen is really good at the moment.
I got to move for this next one.
Yeah, right, Joe. I love Solaire. That's so cool.
Oh yeah. This is probably that's probably like my newest piece. That was from San Diego Comic-Con. It was like an exclusive. And it was $250, but I did not pay that. I paid like $500 for it. Yeah, and then I have like more over there, but that's not what I was gonna show.
Oh boy.
You feel the weight of that.
Anything in your collection that you store in a box in a box, it's something nice. Oh, beautiful.
The 20th anniversary PS4, still sealed.
Yeah, that's sealed.
It's like original shipping box.
Yeah, that's nice.
I was gonna get like an acrylic case made for it, but I just never got around to it. So I just keep it in its box because I don't
original styrofoam.
Yeah, I don't ever plan on selling it. And yeah, the 20th anniversary, I believe they made, what was it, like 13,500 copies or something like that, or maybe it was even lower than that. I really don't remember now. but
It's so beautiful.
it really is.
I
I
want
bought
to make a PS5.
Yeah, I love the controllers they came out with them for
being
too.
given out to like IGN and like all the video game websites, and there was people like not knowing that this was like a slip cover, and they were like ripping it, and yeah, they were just getting torn apart in the comments.
It cringes me watching some people open stuff, and it's like they
So
rip
wait,
the collector's edition
so-
open.
That's a slip cover that goes over the console?
No, just like to the box,
Oh, okay, right, yeah.
and then
There's a box inside a box. There's a few
Yeah,
PS3
yeah.
consoles.
Well, a couple of the consoles you got off me things, I think they're the same.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
then,
Yeah.
of course,
Yeah, there it is. I have a couple of those dots. Sealed.
yeah, the
Yeah, they look really nice.
controller.
Mhm.
Although the console actually does come with a controller that's a little different than this one that was sold separately. I did pick this up as well. I have a bunch
What-
of PS4 controllers. Like I have like The Last of Us Part 2, the 500 million.
What's the difference between that and the console controller?
So on the little touchpad right here, on the one that came with the console, it says 20, like it has like 2 and then like the circle and then a bunch of like anniversary logos like right here. But on the regular one, like this one right here, it's just a bunch of dots.
Okay.
Okay,
Right.
They
And
still
then-
both look really cool.
Yeah, and then lastly, and this is kind of like sentimental. It's almost like a priceless thing, and that is Castlevania Symphony of the Night. And this was the very first PlayStation game I ever got. Now I had played
What a way
PlayStation.
to start.
Yeah, I had played PlayStation before, like because my friends got one. My brother, who didn't live with me at the time, he got one. So I always got to play them, but I didn't have one. And my grandma got me this, and yeah, and I'll never sell it. It's like completely priceless to me.
So is that part of the photo? I know that I remember you posted a photo of like you on Christmas Day or birthday getting the PS1.
Yeah, this is it.
Is that part of that photo?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Awesome.
cool.
Yeah, I think I was like 10 years old, or
Yeah, there's a really good. Joe's got a really awesome photo of him opening a PS1 back in the day on Christmas Day. It's really
Yeah.
awesome
and this is the game I got with
that you
it.
got with it. Yeah,
That's
cool.
freaking sick, man.
Yeah,
Yeah,
what a
definitely a
lovely
great
way to
first
get
game.
introduced to PS1. But going into Castlevania Symphony of the Night, I ended up, while I was in Japan, I picked up the Japanese version, which
Nice.
I absolutely love. The
Artwork's
cover.
awesome. Yeah.
They always have the best artwork. The
They really
Japanese.
do.
Oh,
And then I also picked up the Sega Saturn version that's still sealed.
Very cool.
And if you've never played the Sega Saturn version, it's almost the same. It has extra levels in the game itself. However, the game lags. So rather than like smooth frames per second, it's like jittery. So yeah. And I think that is my show and tell for today.
good
cool.
stuff.
Did you do you pick up any of the new releases, the limited run ones?
I
With
did.
the
So
Symphony of the Night and everything?
hold on, give me 1 second.
Yeah, you're not done. Show me more Castlevania stuff. I love Castlevania. And just so you know, I did order all 4 covers of that damn game.
I'm trying to find that photo on Joe's Facebook, but it's just full of memes. There's hundreds of them.
All right, so since we're talking about Castlevania, so we have the Castlevania Anniversary Collection, right?
Mhm.
This is the copy that everybody got off Limited Run Games. However, Best Buy
Got a better cover.
got
Way better cover.
their own
Wow.
variant cover, and it's actually way better looking in my opinion.
Hell yeah. No, I agree, dude.
I don't know if you can make that out because I know my camera's kind of dark, but
No, I did the same thing, Joe. I bought both because I ordered the limited run one, and then I saw the Best Buy one, and I'm like, oh my god, that's so much better. What
then
the
we
hell,
get
dude?
into the Anniversary Collection
Oh, that's nice.
Collector's Edition, which like it lights up.
Wow.
Hold on, I don't know if you could hear that.
The soundtrack.
That's
well,
cool.
it plays like the music to Castlevania.
Huh. That's crazy.
Joe, I found that photo too, by the way.
Oh, you did? Oh, look at that.
Yeah, look at that. That's so cool.
Yeah.
So
That's an old school gamer right there.
yeah, that was a meme I made of opening my PS1 and then, of course, opening my PS5. Even though I had my PS5 like a month prior to that photo being taken.
I love it. You almost look more excited in the PS5 photo than the PS1 one.
And then lastly with the Castlevania games for at least PS4.
Oh wow, man! You got the
Um,
big one.
the
That's beautiful.
Castlevania Requiem collection,
Yeah.
which is essentially just Castlevania Symphony of the Night
Mhm.
and Rondo of Blood, but on disc. Because Symphony of the Night's been on, the PS3 store, I think, and PS4 store digitally, but it's never been physically released up until now. And
Is that sealed, Joe?
what's up?
Is that sealed?
I ended up opening it because
Yeah.
I wanted to see what the steel. Oh, I will open it really quick so I could show you the steel book because it's probably the best part of the whole thing. But it comes with the like save logo.
Huh.
Reminds me of the Undertaker's Collector's Edition.
Yeah, kind of.
Better.
Sorry, I'm kind of like doing an unboxing, but
No, man.
Yeah,
we
no,
live
you're
for
fine.
this.
We
live
asked
this.
for it.
Exactly. We want
Yeah,
to see
it does
the
come with,
insides of expensive
little
collector's
strip
editions.
of
I can
authenticity.
see the number it shines.
Yeah,
1461.
out of 9100.
Huh.
And then of course you get
That's
Yeah.
cool.
I actually have that edition because they sold that separately, so I actually do have that.
and then it comes with a variant cover.
Ooh,
Oh, does it
I wasn't
really?
aware of this.
Yeah.
That is cool.
It's actually
Need to
two
get
of
a
them.
case for that.
So that's the Rondo of
What?
Blood.
Hmm.
And
I didn't
then
know that.
the other side you have Symphony of the Night.
What?
That's cool, that reverse cover, because that's the OG one. I love it.
Yep.
What the heck,
And
man? I don't even want to know
steel
this. Put it away. I now regret you
Wow, look
opening
at
it. I
that.
didn't need to know that.
Look at that steel book. Probably one of my favorite steel books.
That is
But I don't know if it's worth waiting 2 years for.
Probably not, but
No.
and then
Well, if you're a symphony, if you're not collecting anything else and you're a fan of the series, that's the good thing about cutting down a collection and focusing on your true love. Like you can forego expensive games that you're not a fan of the series, and you can spend your money and focus on a series that you really, really love.
I adore Castlevania.
Yeah,
I
me
played
too.
it like on the Nintendo with my brother when I was a little kid, and then of course I got Super Castlevania on the Super Nintendo. I played the N64 games, which are kind of trash, and then of course I got my PS1, and then got right into Symphony of the Night. I did play a lot of the Game Boy games, but there's so many of them, and they're very like kind of like niche in my
Did
opinion.
you like where it went with the PS3 and that?
What's that? Oh, I
Did you-
hated. I hated the P. You know what? So I didn't mind the first. I forget what it was called. What
Lords
the-
of Shadows.
Lords of Shadows. I was like, okay, it's a God of War kind of like clone ripoff kind of thing. I liked where the story was going, and then Lords of Shadow 2 came out, and then it just like took a nosedive.
Yeah,
Like-
wasn't one of them kind of like in the vein of like the Sands of Time style games? The what
Prince
was
of
that?
Persia?
The Prince of Persia. Wasn't one of them like they were just a kind of clone of Prince of Persia, bouncing around and doing weird shit that wasn't Castlevania?
Lords of Shadow 2 just like completely shit on the franchise so bad that there hasn't been a Castlevania game since.
Yeah.
However, what has happened is, and I'm a huge fan of them. Like if I showed you my trophies, I play a lot of Metroidvania games. There's been an
there are so
insane
many good ones.
increase of Metroidvania games, not only on the PS4 but especially PS5, and most of them, like 90% of them, are all amazing.
Mhm.
Like
Yeah.
You need Dead Cells, Castlevania.
Dead Cells, like platinumed, and that took me a long time to platinum. Like
Hell yeah.
hundreds of hours, because it's all random, like generated kind of thing.
Yeah, it takes forever just to get all the items and to kill
Yeah.
all Yeah.
So just to finish up with this, because it's not done, it does come with like a shield and a sword, but it comes with like a little thing data saved, because the box, if you played Symphony of the Night, it has like a little notch right there, and you can put the data saved up there. So
Well, that's cool.
yeah.
Huh. Wow.
But that is my PS4 Castlevania collection.
So he smashed us in the trivia and then smashed us in the show and tell.
I'm sorry.
Well, I got a couple of things to show. They're not as cool as the Castlevania collection, but they are interesting enough themselves. So the first piece is actually a PS1 title. So this is Tomb Raider, the Collector's Edition. Now, this is for PS1. It only got released in Australia and New Zealand. And there are 10,000 of them. They're all numbered. So this is number 2,559 out of 10,000. But what's interesting about them is they came in PS2 style cases. So you got Tomb Raider 1, 2, and 3 in these PS2 style cases, but for the PS1. So they're the only PS1 games that come like this. Super cool. And then the games just inside, you got the PS1 manual. So it's really cool. It's like this is what you're going to be getting for our next system, but you're going to get it a little bit early here. So it's not really a piece that I was after, but I worked at a pawn shop, and when I left the pawn shop, this was my going away present. So I was pretty happy with this one. So for that reason, it's going to stay in the collection.
That's cool, man. Really interesting cases.
Yeah, it's just an interesting piece for PS1. You don't really get many PS1 collector's editions.
Are they official?
Sorry?
Are they official?
Yeah, it's official. Official release. Now the next one is a PS3 collector's edition. It's one of my favorite ones. It's really hard to find complete. Usually you just find the box that comes inside it. So it's the Grand Theft Auto 4 Special Edition. And it comes with a is it a safe? Yeah, it comes with a safe inside it. So this is a really heavy safe that's inside it. But finding the box is the hardest part. It's a super cool collector's edition. It's a red spine one, so it's a pretty early release.
Such a strange size box, man.
Yeah, I'll pull the safe out just so you guys can see it.
Apparently it's fireproof. I don't know how true that is, but apparently it's fireproof.
I believe that. Like, this is strong. So Grand Theft Auto 4. I've got the.
Can we all agree that the PS3 had the weirdest collector's edition?
The best. So many cool things. Now, if I was 16, what do you think I would use that for?
Weed.
Weeder, man.
It's 100%.
I mean, this is a.
I'm glad everybody immediately knows what that thing would really.
It comes with a fucking vest. And then we've obviously got a copy of the game. For some reason, there's 2 copies in this collector's edition. We've got a soundtrack, and then there's an art book in here as well. So it's a pretty cool collector's edition. But yeah, it's a duffel bag. Okay, so it comes with a duffel bag. But yeah, this is heavy duty.
That's a throwback to the. Didn't you have a lockbox like that in your save room in the game when you?
I think that's what it was.
Yeah.
Where that's how you
looks like
saved
a
the game
bank
by there was that lockbox on your bedside table or something.
It's been a long time since I played Grand Theft Auto 4.
Oh, that game annoyed the shit out of me.
Hey cousin, you want to go bowling?
Have you guys seen any of the Starfield gameplay? So Starfield from last night, officially, if you're a streamer, you're allowed to show gameplay. All reviews came out, and reviews actually seem pretty good. Like, I watched a review of a guy that played 80 hours of the game. He dove into both sides of the argument. So, like, the game isn't 100% polished. There's going to be glitches. Some of the missions weren't that exciting. But overall, like, it's a pretty good experience. It sounds like the game has been released in AAA quality form. It's not like a Fallout 76 or anything. So next week it's going to be free on Game Pass. I'll be playing it next Friday. I'm pretty excited.
I mean, it is a Bethesda game, so expecting it to be bug-free was...
Yeah, come on. That would be a letdown in a way.
You can't spell Bethesda without plenty of bugs.
Yeah.
They put the B in Bethesda. One thing that really surprised me is it actually runs really well on the Xbox Series S. which is giving me hope for my PC to be able to run it really well as well.
This game's been talked about for literally a
Years.
decade, right?
Yeah. This is Xbox's this is our game, guys. You're going to be buying our consoles for this game. This is the thing. So
I see, and I'm not really heavily into like the news of Starfield. I know everybody's talking about it, but all the gameplay I watched, it looked like No Man's Sky to me, honestly. So I just didn't have any interest of like keeping up with the game, like as far as news and everything goes. And I'm sure it's just pretty much Fallout or Skyrim in space, essentially. But the gameplay I seen looked like No Man's Sky. So
Didn't they? They're just releasing a No Man's Sky update, aren't they, or a follow-up?
yeah, No Man's Sky gets updates constantly.
But wasn't there like a big one release recently?
Yeah. Like I think it's called like Echoes or something. But it's a huge update.
Did anyone here get into that game like big time?
I bought it in 2016 and it was terrible.
Yeah, I did when it first came out. I platinumed it and then I didn't.
Can anyone hear these? Can anyone hear these budgies going off? Is that anyone?
Yeah, the whole time.
Shut up.
Fine.
All right.
So I played the game when it first came out, platinumed it, and then I didn't touch it for years until it came out on PS4 and it had all updates. It was like almost like a completely different game at that point.
It had so much hype in it coming out.
The concept of like you have to get like materials to get to other planets and stuff, but like the gameplay wise and everything that they added to it made it like almost like a new game.
I heard something interesting on Starfield that so comparing it to say Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, where Zelda's a big open world that you can walk 10 meters and find something, and you can walk 20 meters that way and find something. They're saying Starfield, it's not like that. It's a very open world, not much going on, but the missions are really good. So you're really focused on continuing that mission, going to the next mission. You're not getting sidetracked or anything like that. But the guy I listened to was 70 hours in and he still hadn't touched all the content yet, which gives me hope. I love Fallout. I love Skyrim. So I'm going into this game with expectations that it's going to be like that, not like Fallout 76.
Here's the thing. Xbox kind of needs that one big game because if you look like, okay, since the Xbox Series S and X have come out, Xbox hasn't released any like huge first party titles. I think this year they had Redfall, and that got slammed in reviews, like horribly slammed in reviews. And then I really can't think of anything else that it like released.
Everything they release is shit. Like they need this game to be good.
Third party, but I mean, I don't know if you've been keeping up with the news, TJ, but they bought Bethesda. Microsoft bought Bethesda.
Yeah, I knew that.
And now I don't know if it's closed yet. I don't think it has, but they bought ABK, which is Activision, Blizzard, and King. So Microsoft is officially going to own the Call of Duty franchises and every Activision IP out there, including World of Warcraft, Candy Crush, and whatever else. I think they spent like $80 billion on the company.
And they're still trying to pass the laws in certain countries. It's like getting denied in the UK and different things like that.
My biggest gripe with this...
what laws, though?
What's up?
So they basically have to like approve this deal in every country because it seemed that the UK says no because it's a monopoly. So
okay, right. Yeah.
That's why it's not getting through in the UK.
It's really not a monopoly yet. Yeah, and I say yet because, and maybe I'm overstepping saying like this, but what it's doing is causing like everybody wants to buy everybody now. It kind of opened like the floodgates of like, oh, well, Microsoft is going to spend $80 billion on a game developer.
Well, how the fuck did EA get away with it for so long? Because that's all they did was buy out a developer and rename them EA San Diego or some shit.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
But like now all these other companies are eating up all the smaller developers.
Endeavor Group, Tencent, they're all just buying everything.
You know the thing is, I don't care that Tencent's doing that because Tencent isn't making all of like prior third-party games exclusive to a platform. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like Tencent is just a publisher, really. Microsoft has bought Bethesda, so all the Doom games I own on PS4, which I have a shit ton of Doom games on my PS4. Just on my PS4, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 Doom games on my PS4. The next Doom game is not going to be on PlayStation. Guaranteed.
It's crazy to think about. Like,
yeah. Same thing with Wolfenstein, you know?
it's not just not on PlayStation, it's not on Nintendo either.
I know.
Like, it's not on PlayStation or Nintendo, and you're talking about Doom. What the fuck?
But that doesn't. It never made sense to me. Where if a publisher like console exclusive games, like you're literally throwing away money. Why would they? It just never.
They get that much money to only sell it on that console that it's worth it for them.
And I'm sorry I got on like a little rant. We could talk more about Starfield, but I also wanted to talk Cyrus, that Sea of Stars. I have that downloaded. I have not played it yet, but I heard it is one of the best RPGs that is released in a very long time.
Yeah, it looks really good.
I've been planning. We're wrap this show up. We're 2 hours 15 minutes in. TJ, Joe, it was great to have you both back on the show, guys.
Yeah, it was fun, guys.
Together it was really awesome. Yeah. If you guys want to support the podcast for free, you guys can leave us 5-star reviews over on iTunes or Spotify. It really helps the show. Leaving a like. Those little things really help. So if you guys like the show, other people that don't listen to it might like it as well.
Yeah, sure.
I actually donated money to your podcast the other week, you scumbag.
I seen that.
Super chat, and you were just like, I was like, you son of a bitch.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I'll help pay for it.
I'll have fun. Hey, safe travels, Joe. Stay safe, brother.
Oh yeah, I'm leaving. I was gonna say maybe I'll come back on and I could show off more of my collection. But yeah, I'll be leaving in the 3 weeks, but I'll be back on again when I get home.
Yeah,
I'll have a good trip over there, man. Stay safe.
Thanks.
PJ, Joe, where can everyone find you guys?
Wrestle Savage, brother, by the side of the ring on the curtain. Go and check it out. It's good stuff. It's good fun. But yeah, other than that, we're on Wrestle Savage is on TikTok. It's on Instagram. We just hit 14,000 followers on the gram. Nice. Kind of exploded. We're on YouTube. We're going to have our own website shortly. We just registered the business. We're going to be dropping limited run wrestling T-shirts. So if there's any wrestling fans out there, we're going to be doing a whole bunch of stuff. And that's about it. My normal Instagram for TJ is just probably the most boring. I just use it to send memes to Joe, really.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm on Facebook, Instagram, but you can go on my YouTube channel if you really want. If anybody in the chat has not seen my YouTube channel, just look up Collective Finatic 101.
I got it in the links below, guys. So if you haven't subscribed, go check it out.
But yeah, I'm just on Facebook, just shooting the shit, sending memes, making memes.
Can I just say too? You just made a comment earlier about we were talking about the Japanese covers. Your video was the first. It was the first time I ever learned that there were alternative covers in Japan because you had an alternative cover for the Shadow.
Strider.
No. The one where the guys got
Shadow of the Dam.
Shadow of the Damned. You had the Japanese cover variant of that, which was so much better. Yeah. And I was like, so they make different covers over there.
Yeah. And that's the thing. Yeah. Japanese covers are so much better than. I say most of them are better, and they're cheaper. Doesn't make sense.
Yeah, but yeah.
Cool. Well, guys, thanks everyone for watching. Stay tuned this Sunday. We've got Radical Reggie coming back on, so that'll be another awesome show. And stay safe, everyone.
Thanks, Figsy. Thanks, Joe.
Yep. Night, everybody.
You